Hi, my name is Amanda Maxwell and I'm founder of Freelance Queens. For those that join us today and don't know about Freelance Queens, we are a freelance community that sit on WhatsApp. We have about 190 members and we are predominantly women of colour and female identifying. And it was born out of me wanting to bring together incredible women that I knew that were either freelance, had just started out, had loads of knowledge and experience but didn't know any other freelancers, or just wanted to meet other like-minded individuals that were already in the game and bringing other people together. I was part-time at a company and I really wanted to get some more experience with the skill set that I had, and just felt like it was the right time to bring these women together. We're coming up to our second birthday, and so nearly 2 years ago, and that was literally how we started. So really organically, and it just grew and grew and grew. Just is on the basis of recommendations of like-minded individuals that have the same ethos, willing to share job roles, willing to share contacts, willing to share advice and amplify other queens that are doing incredible things. So today you meet 5 incredible women who are part of the collective, who are part of the network, and they will be sharing their experience as to how they've counteracted and how they have moved and navigated within this pandemic, and the advice around acts of kindness and self-care. So thank you for joining us and welcome. Hi guys, welcome to Freelance Queens. Today we are joined by 5 freelance queens. We have Charlotte, Robin, Tanya, Chloe and Nell. And today we're going to be discussing the new ways as freelance queens that they have been working, the things that they've been doing as acts of kindness through their work, and also the tips of self-care to get us through this pandemic currently. So without further ado, I would love it if Charlotte could introduce herself and tell us a bit about what she does and who she is, and then we'll go round.
Hi, so my name is Charlotte Williams and I'm the founder of 76 Agency. We are a social media and influencer marketing agency based in London, and we have a focus around diversity. So we manage BAME influencers and we have an influencer network specifically for the BAME community.
Awesome. So Robin, would you like to introduce yourself next?
Yes, I'm Robin Leone. I'm a human experience explorer and photographer. I'm basically fascinated by everything that makes our world tick and how we can live a more thriving and happy and sort of grounded life.
Amazing. Tanya.
Hey, so I'm Tanya. I'm a fashion stylist. I also run a company called Guardia, and what we do is we create activations for brands and artists and look after talent, work with brands on their strategy, and I've recently launched a jewelry brand.
Amazing. Sick. Chloe.
Hi, so my name is Chloe Pierre. I'm the founder of Wellness Community and Brand Myself. We aim to actualize self-care, self-love, and diversify the wellness industry.
Amazing. And Nell, please.
Hello, so I'm Nell Jordan-Gent, and I'm a coach and a programmer. I coach creatives. It's essentially career-based coaching for creatives that want to kind of deepen their practice in terms of their work. So I do one-to-one coaching with creatives. It's called Creatives in Coaching. And I also program talks and panels aimed at, I guess, supporting the next generation of creatives. So I do that for Apple. I also do that independently for festivals and talks and panels. So yeah, I'm a coach and I also am a programmer.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So ladies, I guess this is a question for all of you, and it would be great to just hear how COVID-19 unfortunately may or may have not impacted your work and what changes you have made to overcome the current situation. Charlotte, I would love to start with you because I know that you also released an ebook recently, and I would love for you to share that with us as well, and everything else that everybody else is working on as well. Please feel free to share.
So I think COVID-19 has actually been quite kind to me. I think I work in the digital space, so we haven't been overly affected. I've had a couple of clients that have paused their contracts because they're physical spaces and they've had to close. But in general, we're fine. And what's exciting is that because we've paused some contracts, we've got a little bit more free time. So rather than taking on any new clients, we decided collectively within my team to launch 2 sides to the business that we were originally thinking of launching in Q4. So we've just gone ahead and done it to launch next week. Oh my god! So which is the talent management side and our influencer network, which is something we've been working on for a while. So that is something that has been great, and I've really been coping with the whole lockdown situation quite well because I've been really busy, and I think that always helps. I did in fact launch an ebook at the beginning of lockdown. I think it was actually just before lockdown, and it was actually inspired by a conversation that Tanya and I had talking about all the creatives that would be suffering during this time, but they do have options because of the digital world. So the ebook that I launched, it's targeted at people with influence, or an active audience, and it's basically tips. I think it's about 5 to 7 tips on how to harness your audience and generate income from it, be that through affiliate links or launching your own ebook or a podcast or anything that could spark interest to the audience that you currently have, and then make small bits of income and sometimes large in the audience. So yeah, that's something I've done, but also links quite well with the support network, which is the 7-6 influencer network that we're launching, because that's the kind of information that we'll be giving to our network, which is really exciting.
Sick. That's incredible. Tanya, we'll come to you next, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. So, well, when this all started, before we actually even went into lockdown, I saw Charlotte, and I was like really, really anxious about the whole thing. And I tried to like hide some of the anxiety, but I think Charlotte could pick up on how anxious I was. You know, I definitely told her, but I also tried to hide some of it. And she just gave me some really good advice in terms of how to adapt to the situation. I think also what was so nerve-wracking was obviously, like every other freelancer, it was more like when is my next bit of money going to come in? I've got outgoings. It's also because I just launched my jewellery brand, which I'd invested money into, and I had to stop all PR and press that I'd worked so hard on around it because of the times. But I then sort of gave it a bit of time, as in a few days, and decided to adapt, create, which is what keeps me really happy, and just go inwards and use my time to work on myself, but also try and work out ways to make money, but just enough to survive, and then use the rest of the time to just better myself as a person. And now it's weird, like I really miss everyone, but sometimes I find myself thinking like maybe I'm going to miss this time as well. So yeah, and actually work's been really good. I've had new opportunities come in. I've been really, really busy, and I think routine is really nice for me, in terms of even if I'm not busy, still waking up at a good time and doing things I enjoy. So, which I think a lot of the time you don't have time to do in the normal fast-paced London world. So,
yeah, amazing. And you've just signed a new talent, right, to your Guardia label?
To Kira London, she's a fitness instructor, and she in this time launched a virtual online subscription service where she provides 7 workouts a week for a very small price of £15 a month. And since starting that, she has grown massively in terms of the subscribers, how many people following her, brands that want to work with her, but not just that. Everyone that is, I feel, that is subscribed to her workouts, the majority are women. It feels like a real community, and I think a few of the girls are in the squad. Charlotte and Chloe, so I think maybe you can both touch me that it's amazing So yeah, she was actually one of I knew her before all of this, and she was one of the people that I spoke to while this was all going on, and we were both low-key freaking out, but also coming up with ideas together. And now we're both just like, oh my god, like COVID's actually been a big blessing. And it's been really fun. And we've got so many more plans for when life goes back to, well, not goes back, but becomes a new normal. And yeah, we've been really busy because she is just smashing it, and she's got ideas coming out of her head all the time, and so do I, and we really bounce off of each other, and it's great.
Awesome. That's really, really positive. That's so great. Thank you for sharing, Charlotte and Tanya. Robin, would you like to share with us?
So for me, COVID was pretty overwhelming, like when all the lockdown first happened, because I was actually in Mexico. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to get back, and that was all just a bit of a drama. So when I came back, we were in lockdown. All of my photography work just went. So that was quite overwhelming. I came back, I just tried to sit with it, not panic, observe like how other people had been dealing with it, because it had kind of been in place for a couple of days beforehand, and just kind of think about what I was going to do or not do. And at first I thought, like, of all the things that I wanted to do in like reaction, and then I just kind of got in a bit of a pickle, and I was like trying to think of too many things, and I was like, must save the world. And then I kind of like went back and was like, do nothing, like don't react to it, like just sit with it, and then be like, what do I need to do from a place of having much less income but much more time. So for me it was like more of a mirror, because it took away like realizing that some of the things that I was doing were based on expectations of other people, and some of the things that I was doing were based on income and that alone. So it was definitely like an incubated like mirrors everywhere thing, which at first was really uncomfortable, but has actually enabled me to stop procrastinating and just put myself out there online more. And I think that it's something that I've always feared, of fearing like judgment, or being like, it's not finished yet, which is such a like perfectionist creative thing that I'm sure a lot of you will understand. Like, it's not finished yet, I can't share it. And it just made me be like, well, everyone's forced online now. Everything that you do is going to be online. The way that you're going to connect with people and the way that you're going to work is going to need to do your laptop. So it was kind of like a bite the bullet situation, although it was really overwhelming. I'm really glad that I kind of chose to just act instead of react. But yeah, it took away, like, I probably have a lot less income, but it was actually a time of transition for me that I'd planned in anyway, so that's kind of okay. And I think being a freelancer, you are always a little bit open to your finances just being like all over the place. Right. So you kind of have hopefully a little bit of a like loose plan of security that we try and create. So in some ways, I think maybe we're more agile and equipped as freelancers.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, good and bad, but all in all, feeling blessed.
Awesome, that's so great to hear. Chloe, would you like to share with us? Because Light Up, I feel, has just been growing and evolving since you started it, and it just looks incredible at the moment, and you've been doing so many amazing things across this whole period.
Yeah, so essentially I am a digital marketer, so I've always been in the digital kind of sphere as soon as like social media became a thing, and even slightly before then. So for me, this has been like a long time coming, because I essentially always wanted to create a business or create something that where if I was to, move abroad, if I was to have children, or, if my life circumstances changed, I would be able to work from my home for myself. So I've always had that mindset. And shortly before this happened, I was already in a contract with a massive retailer, international, I guess, but mainly British heritage retailer. So I was kind of working there, biding my time, saving money, because it's actually something that I've learned I'm really good at, is watching my money and seeing, I'm learning how it grows and how to save it. So something I'm quite proud of. So that was always my plan, was to end that contract. However, it kept on getting rolled on. And then when this happened, I was given an end date. So for me, it hasn't been a negative. It's given me more time to focus on myself. Luckily, the kind of business Thyself is that it essentially runs itself. It's very much community led, so it doesn't always feel like all the pressure's always on me. I have a lot of community members who are always willing to participate, create content, give us an insight into their world, and also just be open to the opportunities that being a disruptive wellness brand brings. So shortly before COVID started, we was already in a collaboration with Nike to host a podcast and a few different activities. So luckily for me, this was a really good way to run an online activity. So we created a make your own kind of sneaker through Instagram stories. So that was really good. Since then, we've had different takeovers, just addressing so many different parts of people's lives. We've got meditation. And yeah, essentially, I'm really grateful for this time. I'm grateful that I'm well. I'm grateful that, you know, the people around me that I know are well and they're safe. And yeah, I just want to use this time to better myself and nourish myself from within, and do the same with my brand as well, and forward plan. I think there's a lot of people online that's running to like push out content, and it's really hard to break through the noise when you do that. So being a brand professional or someone that works with brands and knows how to communicate different messages, it's really important for me to watch what other people are doing, but just stay in my own lane and do really well at what I do, and then plan for the future. So I'm quite comfortable doing that.
Nice, amazing. That's so sick. So for Nell, would you like to just explain what you've been up to and what you've been doing during this time as a coach?
Yeah, so I guess I'm well. Unfortunately, I wasn't well at the start. Around 3 weeks ago, I did fall ill with some of the symptoms. So I went into kind of like a recovery, self-isolating period of time where I was at home for quite a while. So I guess I'm feeling really thankful for now feeling like myself again. And yeah, I guess like having a bit of time to recover and stop, and all the things that everyone previously before me has kind of said. Yeah, I'm really thankful that my family are okay and that my loved ones are well. It's just making me feel just really warm around the idea around community again, and just like local community, like people in my neighborhood, my neighbors, friends that have like, you know, come and delivered stuff to me, just connecting with people online. So yeah, I'm feeling, yeah, generally I feel well and I feel thankful. Yeah, I guess that's kind of how I'm feeling at the moment. And I guess a lot of, especially the initial time when we first went into lockdown, was when I wasn't feeling that well. So I did put on pause my work for a couple of weeks, and I'm kind of just at the stage now where I'm kind of reconnecting with people, and transitioning from meeting people and doing one-to-one coaching with people face to face to coaching online, which actually I'm quite enjoying, and it seems to be working just as effectively as if we were just meeting in my studio or in a cafe or wherever. So yeah, I'm kind of getting back into the swing of working again, I guess.
So, question for everybody: what has been your act of kindness during this time? Tanya and Chloe, I was aware that there was a bit of a collab that happened in Freelance Queens, and I was hoping that you guys would be able to share with us what that was and who that was for, and then everybody else to share anything else that they've kind of done within this time frame to be in keeping with the theme of kindness.
I think Tanya should lead.
I think you should lead.
Okay, I'll just say, so there was a call out, Tanya put a call out in the group, and it's always good for me to just check in every now and then to like just the general thread. And I saw you put out a request for Crocs contact, and I've actually worked with Crocs in the past a lot, and they're an amazing team, amazing brand. And yeah, you asked for the contact, and I was just happy to pass it on because that's what we do. And yeah, as you're also a very trustworthy person, so I just feel like very comfortable sharing contacts with you and sharing information with you.
Oh, thank you. So a friend of mine is a nurse, and she is for the A&E department in Barnet, and she was saying that everyone is in the hospital is running really low on scrubs and also shoes, and she was saying that it's really hard because they're surrounded by a busy hospital and a busy environment, and of course COVID-19, and going home to their families in their uniform, which is essentially contagious. And normally they would be able to find a little space to change if they need to, but where it's so busy at the moment, they don't have that space. So she was going home with the uniform that she'd been working in and not having any time to wash it, and then would then wear the same thing again. And she was saying that she really needed new Crocs, because she wouldn't have time to clean them, and she wanted new Crocs that she could wear to the hospital, leave at the hospital, and then go home in her trainers. So I said to her, well, why don't I see if Crocs can hook you up? And she was like, oh, it's fine, it's not, they're not expensive. And I was like, yeah, but it's still, me and brands can sometimes afford to help out our key workers. So I hit up Freelance Queens because Freelance Queens is so good for all contacts. I feel like you can literally ask for the Queen's number and someone will have it. And Chloe jumped in, which was so kind, and gave me the correct contact for Crocs, and I sent them an email, and they gave 10,000 pairs, I think it was. Was that right, Chloe? So I emailed them.
Like multiple zeros that I saw, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, like I emailed them just saying, I've got a friend who's a nurse. Is there any way that you can donate some Crocs for her and maybe a few people in her department? And they emailed back saying, yeah, we can donate 10,000 pairs. And my friend was like, what am I going to do with all of these? But it's been great because everyone in the hospital has a new pair of Crocs, and she's also been able to distribute some of them to other hospitals. So yeah,
that's amazing. That's so sick. That's what that's all about, using connections wisely and being able to help other people and not being afraid to help other people when you see that people are struggling. I think that's really, really important and valid.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been anybody else that feels, in terms of random acts of kindness or anything through work? Like I've been finding, Robin, your yoga classes as well, like a lot of people are charging for their time, and I feel like that's an act of kindness in itself, that you're dedicating even 15 minutes of your time every day to trying to help people with mental well-being and physical well-being.
Yeah, like it was one of those things that, yeah, it's been a blessing for me because I was always nervous about putting myself out there online because it was always about me. And this was me being like, I have like I counted earlier, like a 7-step routine in the morning of like keeping myself in flow. And if I can just share one of them with people every day, like that's nothing. And it's been incredible, like the feedback that I've received, and people that I don't even know just messaging saying how much of a big part of their life it's been, and how mentally it's kind of kept them sane. And yeah, it's just so heartwarming, and it's really nice to just be able to connect with people even if I can't see them.
Yeah.
Like even people that have come every day have said thank you afterwards every time, and it's always just like, have a beautiful day, like feel strong, feel happy, and grateful that you can just, like, it's simple movements and breath, but even that in the morning, even having something to get up for, I think has made a massive difference for people. So
Amazing.
yeah,
And
like,
we both do it, don't we, Amanda?
Huh?
We both join. Well,
Yeah,
both...
we did. Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. So good.
yeah, and then I've been kind of reading like little quotes and poems and just things to help inspire people at the end, and turning them into graphics and sharing them, and yeah, received that really well. So I think words and pictures on a screen can do a lot more than maybe we once thought. So
Yeah, amazing. And Charlotte, I feel like in terms of your workshops and sharing of your skill set and your experience with everything that you do, has been amazing as well. And I know that there's been times where I've even had time with you, and I feel like time is such a precious thing that we have, and obviously every second that goes by is a second gone. So I'm always so appreciative of any time that anyone can dedicate. So I feel like, certainly to me, that's felt like an act of kindness any time that anyone's been able to give. So I've been fortunate enough to have yours, but I wondered whether there's anything else that you have felt like you contributed.
Time and advice has been my contribution. I think really, I've said this to you before, quite commercially. I really struggle to kind of deconstruct things sometimes. So my initial, when this all happened, obviously checking people are healthy and safe was really important. But my first thoughts were all of the freelancers and creatives that would be struck during this time. I think there's a quote that I read that like 30% of the fashion industry won't recover from this, or something along those lines. And that's, like designers and people who are freelancing creatives. So I just kind of, whenever anyone asks me a question, it's not just answering the question, it's like taking the time to make sure that that question is answered for their specific needs, and really checking in on my friends who I feel like sometimes forget the possibilities that are out there. Yeah. So making sure that they know that, it's not the end of the world for them. Things can happen, they can adapt, they can pivot their strategies. And also just seeing people do these things like Kira London, for example, is really inspiring, because it just shows that it is possible. It just takes, a lot of hard work, so it's a case of using this time wisely. So just explaining like, you can relax and find yourself during this period, which is something I'm actively choosing to do. But at the same time, you can choose the projects that you want to work on specifically right now, and to make sure that you put as much effort into them as you can, as you're available to do so, mentally. And it's a really good time to shine. So I think that's my focus at the moment, just shining that light on everyone, just to be like, now's a really good opportunity to do this, and this, because my brain works like 100 miles per hour. And I've done that with a few people in this group. So it's just making sure that people are just using what they have. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of, it's not really like, it's kindness, but for me it's just like, let's just make money and do the things that we need to do.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. Now?
Yeah, I guess for me, I think where my programming work has become on hold at the moment, because a lot of the programming that I do revolves around quite large scale events, festivals, programming, talks, panels, that kind of thing, that exist around kind of face-to-face or community-spaced environments. What's happened is that I've had more time to focus on my coaching and that practice, which has been really, really great to just have more time to dedicate to it. Because I was kind of, before it was kind of 50-50, and I was doing around like 2.5 days coaching and 3 days programming. And now the shift has there's been a shift where I have more time to focus on my practice and I guess deepen my skill set as well, which has been great. So having a lot more time to work on that. And I guess the act of kindness is where I have work on hold. I've been thinking about, okay, do I introduce a day? Probably about 2 weeks ago, when I started working back up again, I decided to deliver a kind of low cost day, affordable based coaching, which is 1 day a week, and it's first come first serve, and I have 5 slots in 1 day, and it's pay what you can afford. So I guess it's kind of taking the pressure, the strain off a lot of these decisions that a lot of creatives are having to make at the moment when it comes to prioritizing what they spend their money on, but also still kind of maintaining a way of thinking about how to be resilient and working through some of the challenges that might have come up for a lot of people. So yeah, that's been quite well received. And yeah, I guess it's an act of kindness, I guess, in a sense of making sure that I'm supportive of my community, but also welcoming new clients who want to work on specific areas at the moment, or kind of want to just talk through. And yeah, my role as a coach is to kind of unearth a lot of what's going on for people. And I think this is a real time of reflection at the moment. And I don't think, we've had this space and this time to reflect as deeply as we have probably for a long time. So for a lot of people, it's a kind of an awakening almost, or it's kind of like resetting and thinking about, what is it that I want to do? What's my purpose? How do I want to live my life? Thinking about the type of work that they want to do. So there's been quite a lot that's come out of this time, and it's been really nice being a part of supporting, people's journeys into discovering what it is that they want to kind of focus on.
Yeah, amazing. All incredible, all of you.
Can I say that everyone in this chat has supported me during this time?
Oh, love that. Yay. That's what it's all about, the sense of community, right? I suppose because one of the things I think in the old world that we all came from, and that we're thinking that we're going to go back to go forward, is that we don't always get the time to reflect and be super appreciative of the things that we've done and the achievements that we've made. We're always looking forward rather than taking stock of anything that we've done. So I guess I just wanted to hear from you, like, one thing that you're proud of yourself from this time, because I know that it's not always easy to sing your own praises, and it's not always easy to, just like I say, take stock of how amazing you've done. So yeah, just one slight thing. It can be anything minor, it can be anything big, it can be just knowing that it made some sort of impact in some sort of way. But yeah, I'm just interested just to see what you think is your little win inside of yourself. And I'm going to go to Chloe.
Okay. I was like, one word, but I guess if I sum up everything that I do, I think it's knowing how to communicate. So whether that's like making sure that I check in on my grandmother, who was naturally built and raised to not complain at all, and to say when she's feeling isolated, it's making sure that I check in on her, and as much as it's for her, it's also for me as well. So doing that, making sure that my community feels as if that there's always an outreach, because it is an isolating time. I think it's really easy for a lot of people to think that someone always has someone somewhere, and that's not always the case. So making sure that I've got the social media running, I've got the email running, and also we've got a WhatsApp group coming up, which has been in the works for ages, as you know. But yeah, so having that kind of thing, and also like just checking in on my neighbours and having chats with them and like building that relationship. So it's not always online, it's not always business related. And yeah, and also just like smiling at someone when I go to Tesco's. Like the highlight of my day is probably going to my local Tesco's. Don't know why. But yeah, it's like smiling and maybe having a conversation with like my news agents or someone like that. So for me, it's just communication and keeping that going.
Yep, sick. Amazing. Robin?
I'd say like a proud moment was kind of stepping out of the like flap that I was in, the like overwhelming flap, and applying all of the skills and knowledge and things that I've been learning about for a long time in a crisis, because you only really know if all of this stuff works. All of these like self-care and community and connection and living in this way, you only know if it works when you're pushed to your limit. So I guess like applying that and then still having enough to share with other people. And like when I first went to the shop when I got back, because everyone was kind of used to the lockdown thing, and when I went to the counter I was like, thank you so much for being here. And like I always say thank you, but they don't know what you mean. They don't know that like you really mean thank you. And I was like, thank you so much for being here, like it's so brave of you, and it was received so well, obviously, but sometimes there's just like unsaid things. So yeah, communication, I totally agree with Chloe, and applying and sharing the practices that I've worked so hard to learn.
Yeah,
agreed.
Tanya, what's been your proud moment in this time?
I'm going to say the ability to be resilient and just focus on the good stuff that's happening every single day, and noticing how, you know, I'm lucky because I have a garden and I can go outside every day, and I'm surrounded by trees, and we've been so lucky because we've got blue skies. So that is like this. I feel like whoever's up there, or the higher being, or the energy out there, has been like, I'm really sorry that you guys are going to be in down, but here's some sun. And so yeah, I'm proud of that, but I'm also proud of the fact that I'm proud of everyone around me and how well everyone is actually coping with this now. Because even the people that don't think they're coping well, they are coping, because they're thriving every day and they're waking up and they're doing something with their day. And I'm proud of the new opportunities that come my way and how I've been able to adapt and still bring in coin. So, because I thought I wasn't going to bring in any coin. So yeah,
that's amazing. Sick. That makes me so happy, all that you've shared so far. Charlotte and Nell, how about you guys?
I'm quite proud of, it's going to sound really random, of how I've adapted, because I'm quite a like black and white kind of person, and I struggle with stress. So I suffer from burnout quite often, and I overload myself with tasks. And I have taken this period to not do that, and I find that really strange. It's really out of character for me, and I think it's because the first 2 weeks of lockdown, I was sick and I had something. It might have been coronavirus, might not, but I felt awful, and my boyfriend also had it as well, and we really struggled. But I also had to run my business, and I found it really, really hard to be literally lying on what felt like my deathbed, but then also not on camera, trying to help my clients change their strategies and use my creative head to do things. And it made my sickness worse, because I had to actively use my brain that basically didn't exist. I found it really, really difficult, and I didn't tell any of my clients I was ill until I felt better, but I was literally there trying to help. And we got through it, and everyone was really happy, and I did that, and at the end of that I was like, yeah, I can't do that. I made myself worse because I was working more, and I felt awful, and I was like, you know what, normal people don't do that. That is not how you as a person should be acting. Your health is the most important thing, and I jeopardized my health to make sure my company functioned, but that's because I was worried about losing my business. So it's quite difficult as a freelancer. You have to sometimes balance up what's important, and I just looked at myself and said, that can't happen again. And that's when I put in certain structures within the company and gave different tasks to different people, because everyone I'm working with is quite junior, so they don't have the knowledge to do the things that need to be done. So now it's working on training up staff to make sure that never happens again. Everyone has their own tasks. Everyone has access to my diary. If I were to like fall down today, like touch wood, that doesn't happen. Like everything can go on without me. But that wasn't set up before. So I'm quite happy that I just did that. And now I'm focusing on working out, not every day, but as much as I can, and just feeling comfortable during this time, and focusing on speaking to my family, speaking to my friends, and making sure as much as I am working, it's enjoyable work and it's not like laborious. But I think I taught that, you know, period right at the beginning taught me that I needed to do that. So I found, yeah, it was started off really tough, but I think I needed that to kick me into the place where I am. So I'm quite grateful for that. I'm proud that I was able to acknowledge that. That's not always something that I'm able to do.
Yeah.
So
It's not always easy to acknowledge that, and to want to change that, but something else that, yeah, I can definitely relate to that for sure. Now, was there anything for you to add?
Yeah, it's always hard going last because I feel like I'm like nodding along, like yeah, and that. But yeah, saying what everyone said, like I'm proud of. I said it before, my community. I've grown up in this area. I've grown up in Hackney. I still live here. I'm proud of my local shopkeeper. I'm proud of all the small businesses. I'm proud of everyone who's kind of, you know, still, yeah, just going out and doing what they're doing to kind of keep everything going, all the key workers. But yeah, community is something that I feel I've always felt a real proudness, you know, coming and living in the area that I do. Again, that resilience that Tanya mentioned before, you know, my business is still going. The work that I can do, I'm still able to, you know, work, but again, having to adapt in a new way. So yeah, feeling just proud of myself for, you know, just kind of being here, I guess. Not necessarily, you know, massive achievements, but, you know, still going, or, you know, how do you measure it, what a massive achievement is anyway? It's just like, you know, we're here and we're well, and we're, yeah, still going. So yeah, I guess community and resilience are two of the things. And yeah, proud of what it is that I do, and being able to support people is something which I just feel like now, after many years in the industry across, you know, various different roles, I feel a real sense of purpose, and I feel proud of what it is that I do, and the work that's produced, and the, you know, off the back of it, and the development that happens through working with people and connecting and just exploring conversations, because that's essentially what it is exploring conversations and seeing what comes out of it. So yeah, that's what I'm proud of.
Sick. Lots of things to be proud of. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm conscious that Charlotte's going to have to scoot off shortly, but I just wanted to ask whether it would be possible for everybody just to share one self-care tip or something that's kept them sane at this time. It can be as big or as small as you want it to be, but yeah, just something that you feel has helped you and will continue to help you, not just now, but just moving forward.
I would say it's looking at this with a very different perspective. You can look at it as if you're being isolated, or you can look at it as a chance for you to replenish yourself and really build yourself up from within, like I said. Also, a really weird way of thinking about it, which I find a lot of joy in, is that we're part of history. And so we have something to talk about when we get old.
Yeah, sick. I love that. Thank you, Chloe. Nell?
Yeah, I guess it's a bit challenging kind of answering this question, because I do believe that what works for me might not work for someone else, and I'm conscious of that. But I can say that a piece of advice that works for me, I guess, is a couple of things. One is kind of like getting, you know, utilizing, if you can, going out, doing your exercise, having that hour a day where we're out and able to kind of like explore being nature, getting down to like Hackney Marshes, the canal, on my bike. I guess when I'm on my bike and I'm cycling, I probably feel my most present. And there's a real sense of achievement with that as well, just like building that into my routine and structure. But I'd just say the one, I guess, main piece of advice would be just keep doing more of the things you enjoy. So just, be really, just try and recognize and try and notice what it is that you're, when you're feeling your most present, but also when you're getting joy from something. And like, it's almost like bottle that and keep doing more of it.
Yeah, agreed. Charlotte?
Mine is sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep has been my self-care, making sure that it's two things: either making sure that I have a full night's sleep by going to bed early, and knowing that if I need to wake up early, I've got that time. But then also the opposite side is going to bed late and enjoying myself, because this is kind of like a summer holiday. So as much as we're still working, like everything's different, and we don't have to be like fully dressed for our meetings. And I've got tracksuit bottoms at the bottom here. So it's the case where sometimes I'll stay up till 2 a.m. and watch like One Tree Hill binging, and that's fine, and I'm really happy with that. And then I'll wake up later because I can. If there's nothing in the diary, I don't need to make work for myself. So it's the opposite: either going to bed early and really enjoying my full night's sleep, or going to bed late, really enjoying myself, and then waking up and getting on with my life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, love that. We've definitely been doing the same thing. Tanya and Robin.
I mean, I've been doing quite a bit of self-care. So the obvious ones that the other girls have mentioned, like exercise and sleep, but also realizing that putting yourself first is okay, and to really dig deep, which can be difficult, so it won't seem like self-care, because I feel like especially social media has told you that self-care is face masks and hair masks, when it really isn't. Actually, self-care is really, really digging deep and sort of reconditioning a lot of the negative conditions that you've been through, and healing from traumas that you may have hidden or sort of suppressed over time, just because you haven't had time to look into it. So that, I think, is really important. And also just to keep the circle of love and kindness going. And actually, self-care isn't just about giving yourself love, but also giving other people love, because that will bring you as much joy. So yeah, and cooking. I haven't had as much time to cook, and I love cooking. So yeah, just eating good, because that brings me so much joy. Yeah, I think that's self-care in terms of, yeah, it's fun, but it also, we need to look after our bodies now more than ever. So
Agreed, for sure. Robin?
Totally agree, Tanya, with all of that. And now, like, there's some bits that really resonated, but I feel the same in that there's not like a one size fits all. Like, there's not, for me, it's like a toolkit that I've gradually learnt bits of over time. It's like this, it's the same as like bad habits. If you have bad self-care habits, like, you don't just start doing it all at once. Like, you start like with a glass of wine, and then a bit more telly, and then like, and then you just forget and everything gets taken away. It's the same with self-care. So don't try and implement everything all at once. Like, play with it and explore and listen to your body and feel and explore what feels good. But the main thing I would say is make time to do that and stick to it. Because if you don't spend your time, somebody else will. Like, it will get taken from you. So you need to stick to your time. You need to be quite disciplined with that. But then within that time, just be playful and listen and explore what it can be. And like Tanya said, it's not always pretty. It's not always comfortable. It's not always face masks. we're in like an incubated situation where we can see our own negative self-beliefs and other people's as well. So not just focusing on your own, but like, yeah, using this kind of like mirror again. It's like we can see a lot more of ourselves and other people at this time. So exploring it, don't be afraid, know that there's always light after dark, and make the time and stick to it.
Awesome. Wicked. Thank
This
you
is
so
making me
much.
emotional.
It's been so great. I just want to thank you all so much for your precious time. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, Nell. I'd like to just give you all and give each other a clap for this time and getting through. Thank you so much to Getahead for having us. I will be sharing all the relevant contact details for these incredible queens. And we have been Freelance Queens. Thank you so much. And yeah, just really, really appreciate you all, and wishing you all health and happiness and love and care and everything that you need to nourish and look after yourselves in this time. But yeah, just thank you. I don't think I can thank you enough. It really, yeah, just means a lot. So thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, guys.